Tonight we are in the mountains of Colombia's west coast, and we are looking for Steirodon careovirgulatum. This is a species of katydid that is really quite large, and it has thorns on its thorax. And it's from a taxonomic group that I am really quite fond of. We have a fairly large spider up here on this leaf. This is a Huntsman. More specifically, one in the genus Sadala. Very cool spider. If this is going to be any described species of Sadala, this one should be Sadala rufa. That's a species that was described in 1880. And there's a good possibility that this is the most colorful huntsman that lives out here. They appear to be fairly common in some regions, but I can't say that I share that experience here. This is the only one that I've seen, at least the only female that I've seen. This is a genus with about 10 species, and they're distributed throughout northern South America and Central America. And it is possible that Sadala rufa, which is the one that we have here, is the northwesternmost ranging species in that genus. Like I said, this is a female, but I think I've seen several males at this point, which are quite sexually dimorphic. They're not nearly as colorful as this one. They're kind of just a sandy brown color. Like the vast majority of Huntsman spiders, these are mostly arboreal, as we just saw. Our first Steirodon careovirgulatum is up here on this leaf. This one is really quite large. This is an adult female. These katydids in the genus Steirodon, and other ones in the tribe Steirodontae, are collectively known as Steirodonts, and many of these species are also referred to as Crested Katydids. The reason for this is because they have these enlarged, spiky carenae on the pronotum. In this species, they are especially large compared to other Steirodonts. And for many Steirodonts, these carenae can be used to distinguish species from one another. In the large 1970 revision on Steirodontae, it is stated that females of this species might be the largest Phaneropterine katydids in the entire world. Phaneropterines are commonly known as bush crickets or bush katydids. This species is found in Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and Colombia. It prefers humid rainforests, more specifically along forest edges or near clearings. They can often be seen sitting on large, broad leaves. However, these are by far most often encountered when they are attracted by lights at night. This funny looking snake is one of my favorite from the region. This one's called the big-scaled thread snake, Trilepida macrolepis. Of course, being a thread snake, this one belongs to the family Leptotyphlopidae. Perhaps one of the most special things about this snake, it has one of the lowest scale counts of any snake in the world. In fact, it might have the lowest scale count, but it would be difficult to verify this. Like other thread snakes, they have this modified scale at the end of their tail, and they use this to poke potential predators when they're disturbed. So this one is trying to dig it into my skin. It is fairly small, but it is quite sharp at the same time. However, I can't say that it hurts at all. Even though this is probably the most fossorial species of snake that lives around here, this one was found almost a few meters off of the ground, climbing up a vine. And that should be the record for this species in terms of height off of the ground. The top predator for this species in this area is quite likely the Transandean coral snake, Mycurus dumeruli transandinus. But an actual record of one of these being preyed on by a snake was by a mussurana. We have another Steirodont up here, different species though. This is Cnemidophyllum citrifolium. Steirodontae is quite a diverse tribe. It contains dozens of species, and this happens to be the first one that was ever described. That was in 1758 by Carl Linnaeus. Supposedly the specific epithet citrifolium might mean yellow leaf. This could refer to the yellowing of the type specimen post-mortem. I really hope that is not the case because these are always green when they are alive, and this misunderstanding could have been easily avoided if Linnaeus had just collected the type specimen himself. You can see that this one's crest is quite prominent, definitely not as prominent as Steirodon careovirgulatum. However, across both genera, there are quite a few species that lack a crest or have one that is greatly reduced. Speaking of other species, this might be the only Cnemidophyllum species that lacks any fuscous markings on its body. And regarding morphology, when these are immature, they have these kinds of eye spots on their underdeveloped wings. This species distribution is quite a bit larger than that of Steirodon careovirgulatum. It's found throughout northern South America, except for the most part it stays on the Amazon side. It might be that the only region where it breaches the Andes is in the Choco rainforest where I am. The two countries where it might have overlap with Steirodon careovirgulatum are Ecuador and Colombia. Look at this little frog that we have down here on this streamside rock. This is Silverstone's rocket frog, or otherwise Colostethus imbricolus. This is a species of dendrobatid, or dart frog, that was described in 1975. This is quite an obscure species. It has relatively few records attributed to it. It's known only from the upper Choco region of Colombia. On top of that, it's listed as endangered by the IUCN Red List. This is one of 2 rocket frog species that can be found around here. The other one is Colostethus prati, which I have not seen around here. But I'm not too pressed, considering that it's not the most attractive species. Interesting thing about these dart frogs, it's the females instead of the males that carry the tadpoles on their back. We have another Steirodon over here on this palm. This one is a male this time. You can see that it is not as large as the female. Both males and females can be quite variable in size in this species, but I would like to point out that this male is on the smaller end of this species size range, and that female that we saw is not as large as this species gets. This species is completely herbivorous. The reason we know this is because this species and other Steirodonts have been observed feeding on plant matter, but in addition to this, 4 Steirodont species have been dissected, and the only food contents that were found was plant tissue. As you can tell, this is quite a docile species. This is true for practically all Steirodonts. And they don't tend to flee very often either. In fact, for many, if you just put your hand in front of them, they'll crawl onto it, much like a chameleon. If these are distressed, however, they might bite, but the first thing that they'll do if they are grabbed is make several loud stridulations in a row, or continuously until they're let go. The last time that I was in Colombia, I was able to observe a couple other Steirodon species, namely Steirodon dentatum and Steirodon stolli. Steirodon stolli is from the Posidippum subgenus, and Steirodon dentatum is from the Pusestes subgenus, which is the same subgenus that this Steirodon careovirgulatum belongs to. Well, that is going to be all of the Steirodonts that we are going to find in this jungle in Colombia tonight. So, hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.